hit it.
Camera's
Hit
not
it
going.
one more time.
It says 000.
And one more. Yep, there we go.
There we go. Roll it.
Roll it. Welcome back to the Volley House podcast episode
What are we at? 42?
42, baby.
Oh, Jesus.
Episode 42. We are here at Kulka Studios. We got Ryan Mackey on the sticks. Just be sure to give him a follow at Max Visuals, M-A-C-K-S. Go to volleyhousepodcast.com to ask us questions or send in stories or videos you'd like us to review. Also, give us a follow on all social media platforms at Volley House Podcast. And we will get into our...
Disclaimer.
Yeah. Get into our lovely sponsors here, starting with Command Fire Apparatus. Need a reliable fire truck? Have a surplus fire truck to sell? At Command Fire Apparatus, they specialize in high-quality used fire trucks ready for your department. They're not brokers. They buy, refurbish, and sell directly to you. From pumpers to ladder trucks, they have what you need, and they pride themselves on delivering a truck to you that is ready to go in service. Join the many satisfied departments that trust them for their fire apparatus needs. Experience stress-free selling and buying today. Visit sellfiretrucks.com or call 866-238-6688. Your next fire truck is just a click away. Command Fire Apparatus is a firefighter-owned and managed company. And also, iCommand Board. As an incident commander, you know that running a scene can be chaotic. Not only are you responsible for getting the job done, but you're also responsible for the members that are putting their lives at risk. As the alarms we respond to change, so does the way we're prepared to handle them. Instead of trying to keep tabs on a whiteboard or notebook, what if there was a tool that had information and checklists that you can follow as the scene unfolds? Meet iCommand Board, a tool created by a fire chief to run flawless incident command. It's made to easily carry and fit in any responder vehicle or rig. It's also designed for any calls our departments handle and can even be customized to your department's needs. If you're looking for an affordable tool to improve your fireground capabilities, visit iCommandBoard.com today.
They needed it in Smithtown the other night.
Oh yeah,
last night.
We'll get to that. First off,
He had a picture of something. A green lawn was using the board. Did you see that?
yeah, I put it on our
Oh,
story.
is that what you posted?
Yep.
I know I saw something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it looked cool. You know what? Like the first time I saw it lit up, like in the dark.
Yeah.
Really, the whole board's illuminated.
Yeah.
It looked good. That was when I saw it on his iCommand Board's Instagram. I was flipping through the slides. Second slide was that picture with it all lit up because it looked like a job at night. I was like, oh, this looks good. So that's the one I shared on the story.
And I saw Greg at the seminar.
Yeah.
He stopped over to see Don Colarusso from All Hands. 'Cause Don's going to be selling it through All Hands, his command board.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, that's great. Speaking of which, phenomenal job.
Thank you.
On the Joey D seminar. Last year, I was there for the lecture part of it, but this year, it's interesting going to the fire academy and fucking everything's burning. Because usually, like, you go there, like, maybe there's another department. Yeah, and then some. But the instructors there, incredible. The whole layout was incredible. The turnout was incredible. And just getting to meet, like, some of the big name players, you know, legends in the fire service, and have some awesome conversations with them was awesome. And me and Ryan just run around. Kudos to Ryan.
Can't believe Ryan didn't bring his gear.
Well,
That would have been good times.
he had to carry his whole camera rig the entire time.
I know.
We're just running around the entire fire academy going to, you know, different.
But you know what? Like,
evolutions.
you go to these things, and, you know, obviously it's a little different for me because I'm running the whole thing, but you feel, like, rejuvenated.
100%.
You go to a seminar like that or hands-on, and, like, you see everybody, and you're talking, and you smell the smoke. Like, you're like, I want to go to a fire right now. You know, like, you get, like, all fired up.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's exactly how I felt. And, like,
But, I mean, we had firefighters from Canada. We had 2 firefighters from Ecuador. You know, like, this thing's getting bigger and bigger, and people just love it. I mean, we had firefighters teaching from Houston, from Florida, from Ohio, from I had a couple firefighters from Detroit teaching, you know, Jersey, Connecticut. I mean, guys from everywhere.
I got a chance to.
And then, of course, Suffolk County instructors,
Yeah.
which a lot of them city guys. There were some Nassau guys that came out. But like the Suffolk County guys, I mean, you look what they did there. My hat goes off to them, man. All these instructors are donating their time for free, just like we do as a foundation. Nobody takes a dime. But, all the Suffolk County instructors came out for a day or 2 days, and, they beat themselves up.
Yeah, but you want to know
they're like the best
big thing,
instructors
though?
out there, though.
They all looked like pigs and shit.
Oh, they love it.
Everyone
They
was
love it.
having a blast. There was nobody that was like, like,
No,
been
they
doing
love
this
it.
all day. It was everyone was smiles. Everyone wanted to give their expertise. It was really awesome. And we got a chance to run around, and obviously you were running a mile a minute over there, but Ryan and I were just running around interviewing people, students that were there. We were interviewing instructors.
Yeah, I want to see all that footage.
Yeah, I mean, some unbelievable stories we got from people, and I got a chance to interview one of the guys from Canada, from Quebec.
Well, I was with you.
Oh yeah, that's
I was
right.
with you when we
Yeah,
did that interview. That was funny.
That was a difficult one.
I'm like, do you speak English? And he's like, I do, but it's tough.
yeah,
sometimes.
mainly spoke French,
But
and
he was awesome.
While I'm trying to interview him and trying to like understand, we're getting attacked by a yellow jacket.
Oh, you were. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Our clock went off. Our piss clock went off.
Maybe it's running out of battery.
That's all right. I'll watch it. How much time? Whatever.
Oh, it's back on. Nice job.
It was phenomenal. Everybody came out. I mean, even the departments, my hat goes off too. We were in Hageman's fire training facility. We had on-scene training taking care of that. We had Mo Davis, guys from Houston and Detroit, a couple of other guys out of Riverhead Fire District let us use their facility. And then all the departments on Long Island that stepped up to bring us rigs. West Babylon, Copeg, and West Islip Sherry, training prop or roof prop. They brought that for us. West Babylon brought the compressor. These departments that bring the rigs, Maniville, Ridge, Coram, Port Jeff, Setauket, I don't want to leave anybody out, but Holbrook, 27 truck, those buffs were there. They love that shit. Just rigs from everywhere, Wisconsin, and Eaton's Neck. I mean, we asked these departments to step up and bring the rigs out for the weekend and, use some of their equipment and tools. And, I thank them all because, they love it too. Like the instructors are like, hey, you want to join in, like in the class, it's awesome.
It was just such a, like you said, you get reinvigorated, and like even Ryan and I were like, we were tired, but we were still like we're getting in there,
Well, you saw me. I had no voice left.
Yeah,
I was
you were
sick.
shot. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like
my
it was
voice is
almost like a bunch of friends hanging out, having a blast, doing something that they love.
Yep.
And that was like the real cool.
It's the brotherhood and the sisterhood. When we talk about culture,
I was just gonna say,
we talk about this other stuff. Like this is what we signed up to do. We signed up to do stuff. Like we want to do stuff. We want to, I don't want to say we want to break stuff. We do want to break stuff, but we want to fight fires. We want to cut things up. We want to lift things. We had vehicle heavy lifting and stuff like that. We had cars into buildings. We had trench, confined space rope. We had guys hanging off towers, tower rescue. Everything. It's like the things we want to do every day that we can't always do. Like you got to do it.
We were sitting there at one point, and your boy, the deli manager, was sitting there.
The deli manager.
Yeah, and he goes, "Look right over there." It was after the Class A evolution. Bunch of guys packing up hose, all guys from different departments. Yep. Like you would see one department packing up hose after a fire. All different departments, people from different states.
Yep.
Packing up hose, and
shooting the shit.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance
breaking balls.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to run over there because you had actually came over and we grabbed an interview with Jeff Cool.
Oh, when Jeff was about to speak.
Yeah, and
Talking about Black Sunday.
yeah, and he gave us a phenomenal
It's unbelievable.
interview. And yeah, so I think next week, right, we'll have that out as an episode. Ryan's gonna cut it all up, make something awesome.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me neither. It's gonna be in.
Then we had the hazmat guys, Mike Monaco,
That
just
was-
kind of taking over classes and teaching.
Mike was.
I love to break his balls, but he had some good stuff to bring up, about the lithium-ion battery stuff. And Randy Diossi from my department did that class.
He's great too.
And he had the batteries burning. He overcharged them until they burnt. And Randy was excellent with that. He's a fire investigator, former firefighter down Virginia area, somewhere down there.
Yeah, we caught his lecture on Friday. Me and you stopped.
Part
in.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, part of it. Great lecture. He's a great speaker too. It really was just the tier of experience and
second to none.
instructors there. It was insane.
And then how many people came up to me and said, "Hey, Chief, I love the podcast. I love the Volley House podcast. I love the show. Hey, I like what you guys are talking about culture and retention and, people listening." And
I had people coming
they're
up
not
to
just
me
from
and Ryan.
Suffolk and Nassau. I mean, even out of state guys were.
I was
up to me.
talking. We had a table that we had set up, and there was some guy filling out raffle tickets, and I just started talking to him about something, and I gave him stickers. He's like, "Oh, he's like, I knew you looked familiar. You're the Volley House podcast guy." He's not even a Volley. He's a paid fireman in Massachusetts.
Oh, there was a lot of paid firemen there.
Yeah, but he was just saying that like he watches the show.
Oh, yeah.
So
I had another guy I talked to that was a paid firefighter, and he goes, when I first saw the Volley stuff, I was like, whatever. And then I saw some of your clips and some of the things you're talking about and the culture and stuff. And he goes, it goes both ways. It's part of paid and volunteer stuff. And he goes, we started listening to a lot of that stuff. And it's good to hear because it's not just all about Volley.
Right.
It's about being a firefighter. And
Right.
yeah, there are some issues that are just Volley issues, but a lot of these same issues, even if unpaid, go into paid departments. They have the same problems.
for sure.
So, like I say, you change the name on the door, it's the same problem, same issues.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for next week. We'll put it out as the Volley House Podcast, episode 43, Joey D edition.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
it's going to be.
We have this seminar on Long Island every November, but we also have one in Texas that we started up a few years ago, and it's February 20th, 21st, and 22nd at the Woodlands. I think using the Woodlands and Conroe again, both academies. So that one is a lot smaller right now, but it's growing. And, the buildings are a little different. They do things a little bit different there. But, it's still part of the Joey D Foundation, and all the money we raise goes directly back out to help save firefighters' lives.
Yeah,
so
and just
through
to-
bailouts and everything else, we gave out $242,000 this year to 13 departments.
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
awesome.
grants this year. So.
And one of the guys that we interviewed, do you remember, Ryan? One of the guys was from Canada with the sick mustache, and the guy next to him, I think, was Connecticut, and he would they let us interview them, and one thing the guy said that I think said last week was the affordability, because he was like,
$300 for 3 days, you can't beat that.
Yeah, and
I
he
mean,
was-
we're going to have to increase it because it's
I'm
getting
sure. It's
tight
getting
on
crazy.
logistics and everything. The price of everything's going up, and we're still been holding the line. So like one day's $150. 2 days is $250, but if you go all 3 days, it's $300.
well, that was the guy from Canada said it, that he was just shocked at the level of expertise from the instructors and the amount of stations for the price that it was. And he was like, we do not get this training up where he is.
Yep.
So he was like, it's a no-brainer.
Yep.
And everybody was having fun. There was not one, everyone had smiles on their face. So just a phenomenal job to you and everyone that runs it and runs the foundation, all the instructors, everyone who had some part in it. Just
there's a
great
lot of
job.
people involved to make this happen. Yes, I'm the main entity and everything falls back on me, but there's so many other people that we could thank that step up, whether they're on the board or off the board, that just step up to the plate to help, including the Fire Academy, the director Devonsky, and we had him on, and Dan Sicilian as well, and Larry Archer and Dave DiDio, and these guys all step up to the plate to help us and make this happen. And obviously, Commissioner Rudy Sunderman, Suffolk County, Frez, another person that, they appreciate what we do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But I appreciate them and letting us use their facility.
Yeah. Let's get into.
I'm still hurting.
Yeah, he sounded a little.
It's going to be a while before I get back.
I'm sure. Suspended or not, we got a submission again from our boys down in Australia. A young member of my old volunteer department in Australia went to the firehouse one night to show his friends around. They asked to look inside one of the trucks, which he said would be okay. Later on that night, they left without any problems, but the next day they received a phone call stating the station had been half flooded due to a wheel spray being turned on by accident. It took the captain and other members of the department 2 hours to clean the water. No damage was caused. Suspended or not.
So what, they turned the water on by accident?
I guess so. I'm not too sure what a wheel spray is. It's got to be, I don't know. I have no idea what that could be.
Is it like a nozzle that goes clean the bottom of the rig, the wheels kind of thing? I don't know. Look up wheel spray. It's a wheel spray.
Let's see.
That's a new term for me.
What is a
I don't know.
wheel spray?
I mean, obviously they left the water on somehow, or whatever they did to open the valve.
A wheel spray can be either a specialized paint for customizing and protecting wheels or a cleaner. No. Let's see.
Fire department wheel spray. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, if it was an accident, it's an accident. If they did it on purpose, I would say probably. If there's damage, maybe a suspension or. Like I said, I'm getting older. I'm trying not to suspend people, but especially on this show.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I know, like, people would be pissed.
Does it say there's damage? It just says
No,
take
said
2
no
hours to clean it up.
Yeah, no damage.
And probably in the truck bay, I would assume, not.
Yep, in truck bay.
Yeah, so I would say no. I'd say probably a mistake.
Yeah, so whoever that was that sent that in, because I know there's different terminology in Australia compared to here, let us know what a wheel spray is.
Definitely.
Because I'd be curious to know.
We'll send them a message back and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I am interested in hearing what it is.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know how it got turned on. So, job of the week.
I don't know, Smithtown. What
Gotta
did
give it
I
to
just tell you?
Smithtown.
It said, what is Smithtown turning into the Bronx?
Yeah,
I love that.
Smithtown
Well,
yesterday.
before we go anywhere else, I think we should acknowledge, and our heart goes out to the FDNY family.
Oh, yeah.
Losing Patrick Brady, firefighter in ladder 120, was on the roof operating in a fire. I guess went into cardiac arrest, had some sort of heart attack. I don't know all the details, but my heart goes out to them, the Brady family. His uncle was a lieutenant with me in Squad 270.
Oh, wow, really?
And his, I believe it's his brother, was in Squad 270 as a firefighter with me and worked together. So I feel, really deeply sorry for their loss in the Brady family. And
Absolutely.
it's terrible. I woke up, like I said, I've been a little under the weather with the seminar and everything else. And I got up in the morning and I look at my phone and I went, oh my God. I'm like, this is terrible. What a tragedy. And our keynote speaker was the first deputy commissioner of the FDNY, Mark Era. It was supposed to be the commissioner, but they were, he obviously just put his resignation in and wasn't coming. But, so I said, we're not going to have a keynote this morning. We'll figure it out. And he came. He came to be our keynote. He got in at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something, and still showered up and got out to Long Island to be our keynote speaker. And he had a lot of great things to say about the FDNY. I mean, not all of it is relevant to exactly what we do, but he did a great job of speaking on behalf of the FDNY, some future plans and stuff like that. And, when what we're all about with the Joey D Foundation and, loss of lives and line of duties. So God bless the Brady family and the FDNY. And, I always hate to hear about these things anyway.
Yeah, I always hate seeing that stuff come through.
But there's been a lot of fires all over in New York City. And, this is the weather in even Long Island and Smithtown. 2 jobs yesterday. I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean,
they had a house fire, and then they had a discount tire store.
well, it's so.
and there's been some other fires around.
I was talking to Chief Donvort this morning about Smithtown's
you back?
jobs. Yeah, he was saying that the first fire they had, residential structure fire, came through as a car fire in the driveway, impinging on the structure. And I believe he said it was the ladder and an engine maybe were already out on the road coming back from an automatic alarm and took it in. And, so they even got there pretty quick. Some extension into the garage, up into the second floor through a pipe chase. And as they were packing up from that fire, get a call for
Pin job, too.
yeah, heavy rescue
right.
at 347 111. Ryan,
Which is like 4 blocks from where the
yep,
Mavis discount tire went on fire.
Ryan actually witnessed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and
That's a weird intersection there.
yeah, it's crazy over there. Yeah, so
And then
They
the
get
fire
back-
was right where I saw you that time in Jack Dolan's.
Yeah.
Jack Dolan's right there.
yeah, so they, got back, packed up, everything started to quiet down a little bit, and
Bam.
then they get a call for a vehicle fire inside of an auto body shop.
That was more than a
and
vehicle fire.
It was second alarm on arrival.
I saw the pre-arrival video, and it's blowing out every garage
Yeah,
door.
yeah. So those boys were.
Did you go, Ryan? You didn't go?
Yeah. probably.
Soon.
Those boys were buzzing yesterday. So yeah, I would say Volley House of the week because it's more than just
Bronx
one
is
job.
burning?
Yeah, Smithtown's the new Bronx. It's so ridiculous.
Oh, my goodness.
Drill of the week. So there was, again, we're going back to the Joey D
Which
thing here.
drill at the Joey D you want to talk about?
Well, obviously there's tons of drills going on that
So
you
we
would
had-
not be able to replicate.
We had 28 different programs going on.
So one that I thought, two in particular that I thought were really interesting. The guys from All Hands were doing the bailout drills. The
It was called Tactical Decisions Before a Last Resort Bailout.
So
it was part in firefighting and situational awareness, and then obviously, trying to not have to bail out, but then also doing headfirst ladder bailouts, bailout rope systems, stuff like that.
So they were doing we went to the one side where they had the guys bailing out onto the ladders.
Yep.
And the way they had the rig set up was so interesting to me. So the ladder was up on the second floor. They had it footed with the outrigger, of the ladder. Ladder truck with the
High point.
the high point, and they had those
Safety.
attached to the guys.
Yep.
And I just not that it's something like that wouldn't necessarily be practical in that actual situation, but
It could be, depending on where you are, but
it could be, but
it was just set up for the drill, for safety.
right. That's what I'm saying.
So the ladder's not going to become dislodged because it's
Exactly.
around the outrigger, and then you have the high point rope for the safety. So, regardless of what happens, you're attached to a safety, and the ladder's not going to move.
Right. It was just interesting to see because you see buckets set up sometimes for tech rescue situations with the rigging set up, the rope rigging.
Yep.
So it looked it was just a cool thing to see. And then the other thing was the lithium-ion battery, where they were actually blowing them up and
overcharging them
and
putting them into thermal runaway.
Yep, which was fantastic. And he was even he was saying, like, in the class, he's like, looking around, he's like, I got a laptop something here, that a laptop sitting around somewhere here that we're gonna blow up. And the class was like, fuck yeah, you know, the guys wanted to see it burn. But just, I mean, so much cool stuff going on. So
Sorry, I'm still coughing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of something that was going on there that could potentially be replicated.
I went on Facebook Live, and I wish it didn't cut out when I went inside the building because I had some good footage of rollover.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And when I said, these guys are going in, let me see what they're doing, and I went and followed them in, and the Facebook, I guess the link, cut out because it's a concrete building. But I got in there and the fire was rolling over. I'm like, time to go.
Yeah, we got some awesome footage, so I guess keep an eye out.
But there were a lot of good ones, like the car into the building. Dan Gordon with flash fire. He used a dumpster, and then he built basically like a floor on the top of it, put the car on it into it, like it went through the floor, and they had to shore it up. And then they built a sidewall off the side of the dumpster, of like a car running into a wall, and they had to shore that up. And we had the bus on top of the car. That was pretty cool. And
then Kevin also recreated his own heavy rescue drill, slamming into that prop car with your old brush truck.
I drive an old brush truck, an '89 Ford. So
what's hilarious is I one time went out to Amagansett Fire Department to demo the Holmatro tools with them, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going in the back. It's like a little grassy area. They had a couple of demo cars, and they come out with a freaking tractor.
Or payloader, smash them up.
I'm sorry, payloader. Come out with the payloader. They lift the cars, put them like on top of each other, and then they bring out their brush truck and just start smashing into these things. I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
We used to do with
so
the brush truck I have.
watch.
We used to smash the side doors.
Yeah, which makes sense. So,
this way it's like a real extrication.
These cars.
And that's kind of what I did there.
Yeah,
I just smashed right into the car.
Well, what was funny about it is like that demo car wasn't like a typical like shitty looking demo car.
Nice.
It looked like it was brand new.
Did you see the back window smash out? It just blew apart.
Yeah.
It was like,
so when you crashed into
I had glass all over my front hood.
Everyone turned around like, what the fuck? And it was just a fucking great time.
I was breaking Max's shoes.
Oh, that was.
I got on the radio and I said, I just hit a county vehicle. What's the procedure?
Yeah.
But a lot of, like I said, a lot of people stepping up, and even the vendors. We had, Suffolk County had their compressed air. We had West Babylon's compressed air. Like, people take a lot of time out. Liz was there with Panther compressors. Scott 3M got us 125 SCBAs to use for the weekend. Wow. Motorola gave us, I think 40 or 60 portable radios to use for the students. Like, all these people and these vendors and like they all step up to the plate. And it's, sometimes it's monetary, sometimes it's just, loaning us equipment that we can use for the weekend. And, it's all, people don't realize how much behind the scenes work there is. And, I'm going to give him credit. Max Mazes, it's like my right-hand man with this. And he's not on the board, but Max takes a lot of time out to help coordinate and make things happen for me. And then, Suffolk County, you saw guys. Like, there's so many people involved,
Well, it's good
people don't realize, I need lights. I need electrical power. I need,
Didn't one of the guys say he couldn't bring his pack? He tried to bring his own Scott pack, but he couldn't bring it across the border.
Well, so you can't fly with a
compressed cylinder.
Yeah. So, some people will bring an air pack, but won't bring a cylinder. So as long as it's Scott, we have Scott cylinders, so it's not a problem. But, we hear it a lot, so we got to be able to provide. The local departments, we ask them to bring cylinders if they can, which some do, some don't. But you got to be able to maintain that level.
Right.
But there were a lot of really neat drills.
The drills are so cool.
I make up. Sometimes people come up to me and say, hey, I have an idea. Like, we had Anthony Pacello. He's the 9th Battalion chief in New York City. And he did, we were going back and forth about doing high rise or whatever. Obviously he's from Manhattan, Manhattan chief. And we came up with a class called Fires in High and Wide Buildings.
Yes.
Because there are similarities of high rise and big warehouses and big buildings. So the feedback I got so far is the class was excellent, and he had another guy with him. I'm sorry, but I can't remember his name, but he's from Ford Truck. He's also in Massapequa Fire Department.
Ford Truck, that's Midtown, right?
Yeah, well, the same firehouse as him.
Yeah, 9th Battalion's in there
But,
too, right?
then they teamed up with Suffolk County guys, and then they did standpipes and, firefighting.
That's
and stuff.
awesome.
So we had a lot of great classes going on.
Yeah, it was. I really can't say enough about it. I think even all you got to do is just drag a guy out there that doesn't really do much training and just watch what happens to them when they're there.
I just,
just
I
fall
wish
right into
more
it.
people would take the time out and make themselves better because, and like I say it there when I talk to the guys, you're the top 1 to 2% of the entire fire service that wants to go out and make themselves better. Like they go out to try to learn more. There's a lot of people that will not. They go to their department trainings only or make the minimum or, maybe they get an extra class here and there. Like, you really need to go out and learn every day.
You know how I can describe it is it's like a carnival.
It
Like
is a giant
a carnival for firefighters.
Well, you saw the size of the tent I had up.
Yeah, you got that too.
And you have 450 students, then you have,
400
another 100 instructors and staff and everybody else.
It was
It's a
just-
lot of
it
people
was-
to feed. We got to feed all those people,
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's a whole nother. Dave Walters did a phenomenal job with all of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, it's. I can't wait for people to see the.
and then Rescue 3 came and volunteered one day, serving food.
Did they?
The retirees group from Suffolk County came out, helped serve food. Like all these people have, it's behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah, all awesome stuff.
But if you haven't been to one, you got to go.
Well, I think based on some of the. Have you looked at any of the footage yet, Ryan? It's got to be insane, right? Yeah, I mean, we really got in there, and I think people will see.
Is that your eyebrow I see, Bert? You really got in there?
Yeah, I think people will see. Just about every station.
You guys didn't get to Hagerman or Riverhead, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there was so much going on
I
at
know.
the academy
I told
itself.
you.
You know,
I told you there was.
So yeah, I think people will be.
Now I want to go to a conference and start going to fires.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it.
Let's get into general topics here. So this was from
Duty to Act Coffee.
Duty to Act
This is going to
Coffee.
be another one of our sponsors here.
Shout out those guys.
And,
they sent a bunch of stuff
Eli
over.
sent me some coffee.
Yeah.
We raffled it off and stuff. It was great. But,
Yeah, definitely.
we'll be working with them in the future for a lot of different projects.
Definitely check them out. So this, all the stuff from last week that we put in there that we couldn't get to last week because there was just a bunch of topics.
Blew up all our submissions.
Yeah, so the first one I have here, and I was thinking about it. I'm not sure if we touched on this, but any advice for people entering their first year as an officer? Did we talk about that last week?
I think we
I
did a
don't wanna be
little,
repetitive.
I'll say, listen, learn, listen to your people, talk to your senior members, they've been around a while. And, as much as you think you know, you don't know. And I think we did touch on this
Yeah,
a bit.
'cause I remember
And,
saying find a mentor.
Even in the paid organization, like I said, while I had a general concept of the way I wanted to do things when I got promoted, I still took it by where I was working and who I was working with sometimes. Whether I had a more senior crew or I had a very junior crew or, who was the senior guy. Like, I'd always look at that stuff, and know where there might be gaps or not. But, always listen to them to see what's going on.
I would also say, like, when I first became an officer, I did so with the thought in mind that I would be a voice for the younger members and that I could potentially help bring some change. And when I got into it, I was quickly humbled
Yep.
at the fact that
You will be humbled.
you're basically like a probie again. You're not changing anything.
That takes time.
It does take time. So don't, if you ran to be an officer with the idea that you wanted to make some changes and stuff like that, don't be disappointed if things don't happen right away, and don't overstep either. Learn what being an officer takes, and as you advance further in your career as an officer, then you can start exploring some of those changes.
Yep. But drill with your members. Drill even when it's not a drill night. If you're just coming back from a run, go over what you did. Critique things. Check the hose beds. Check all the tools. Make sure that's all good. Not just you personally, but everybody. Say, hey, guys, let's just make sure we get everything cleaned up. Let's do things right. Show them that you're a leader in that realm, But definitely listen to them and work with them and take more training classes. You got to keep yourself. You don't know everything. Nobody does. I still don't know everything. I'm still learning shit. I'm still taking classes, and I pop into somebody's class to see how they're doing. And I sat in a lot of lectures yesterday, and, I still picked up things,
Oh, absolutely.
So
The next one, confined space rescue. Now, I don't know, that's like all they wrote. So I don't know what, because we could spend like an entire month of episodes on confined space rescue.
there's a lot to it. I love the tech rescue world. I think, sometimes we push ourselves a little too far. We always want to help people. But if you do not have the proper training, you should not be doing it. And, I see, and I've brought it up before about fire departments trying to rescue ducklings and kittens and stuff down in storm drains and sewers and everything else. You do not belong in these positions unless you're trained in confined space. And,
Right.
there was something just recently on Facebook, and I made some comments, and I got some backlash for it because, it was an animal rescue group that went into a storm drain. And I'm not saying don't go rescue animals. I'm not saying, it's still, certain things are still important. You have to be safe about doing it. And the problem is most people, civilians especially, but even firefighters not trained, don't understand the hazards that are involved in confined spaces. And even those storm drains, there's a good possibility you could have a low-lying gas that's very toxic, like sulfur dioxide or hydrogen sulfide. Could even be CO and other things down there. And you go down there and you take a couple breaths, you're going down. And it could kill you, because only 100 parts per million of hydrogen sulfide or sulfur dioxide will kill you. And that's not a lot. So, and I had people commenting, well, if the kitten's alive or the duck's alive, it's not throughout the entire space every time. Sometimes it's just in pockets and plumes. Same thing happens in a regular gas leak. So, and the kitten could still be in a safe space and you're not. And you get into that position, like hydrogen sulfide is the breakdown of organic matter, which is usually in a storm drain, and it's usually low-lying. So you get down low to go rescue a duckling or a kitten, you take a couple breaths, and now you're down for the count. So you need to do metering and monitoring. You need to ventilate the spaces. You need to do a lot of other things. And if you're not trained and you don't know it, you should not be going into underground spaces.
And just to put it in perspective, years ago, it was actually in Smithtown. It was after a snowstorm. Plow came through, was clearing the parking lot, and wind up tearing a manhole cover off. And guy working at Dunkin' Donuts went to go take the trash, put it in the dumpster, fell right in that hole, and was dead almost instantly. And the cause of it was asphyxiation.
Yep.
Because of the gases that were down there.
Yep.
I would also say, too, like I know from when I first got Tech Rescue certified, the captain of the Tech Rescue team told me pick one discipline.
Stick to that.
And you got to stick, because the thing with these types of things, and Kevin, you've probably seen it a million times, but don't be that guy that takes one of these classes and then says, "Okay, I'm good to go now because
You
I got
still
my
don't know everything.
certification."
You still don't know everything.
And I even felt the same way. Like the most recent thing I took, I got ice rescue certified, and I think back to it now, and I'm like, there's little things that you need to know that I don't really remember from it now. And if your department isn't part of, say, like a tech rescue team or something like that, it's going to be a little more difficult to drill on these types of things. So, if it's something that your department is potentially interested in doing, maybe get certified with a couple of guys and, try to figure out, Smithtown started building out a tech rescue thing with Comac Fire Department, and there's another fire department I can't remember, but basically they asked the membership, is anybody interested in tech rescue? Mm-hmm. A bunch of guys said, yeah, we are. They sent them out, got them trained, and now they train with multiple departments because that particular area doesn't have an immediate response. So they figured, okay, we'll train on it at an awareness level. And some of those guys may have gotten some tech level stuff, but you've mentioned it before, Kev. It's always good to have an awareness of all these different types of things going.
I believe everyone should have tech rescue awareness in every discipline
to prevent what you were just saying, running into situations.
The reality
like
is, with confined space, 60% of would-be rescuers die. 60%.
That's high.
And it's a very high number if you think about it. And, it's sometimes even firefighters that have been killed trying to make a rescue, not knowing the dangers. Mm-hmm. So that's why the awareness is so important, that people don't. And I know we always want to act. We always want to do. We're rescuers. We're firefighters, and we're going to take a little bit of risk. But you don't have to take unnecessary risk. If you just have a little bit of knowledge in it, you'll understand this is not for me. The other thing I'll say is, like, my department has a tech rescue team, and we're also part of the Brookhaven Technical Rescue Team, which is made up of like 10, 11 departments. If you believe you have something that is tech rescue, call for them early, because it takes a lot of time, reflex time, to get them to where you are. So if you're looking to actually rescue people, you better call for them right away. It will take a long time to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. And even, just like confined space rescue, different from, say, trench rescue.
But you got to realize every trench is a confined space.
Yeah, but just from
that's why you usually take confined space before you take trench rescue, because you need to know the hazards of confined space first.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I mean, you've seen the videos. You know what videos freak me out is the guys getting trapped in the fucking cesspools.
No, it's terrible.
Like they're just standing there, and all of a sudden one thing gives out, and they go. You just see like the big concrete, rings just get buried on top of the. It's like that shit freaks me out, and like something like that, like most of the time, going to be a recovery.
Well, you got to understand, Long Island is a lot of sand.
Yeah.
So the collapse potential is even worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those aren't really trenches; those are more excavations.
Yeah.
So a trench is deeper than it is wide. An excavation is wider than it is deep.
Yes.
But if you actually look of the actual definition, as soon as you put a shovel into the ground, it's considered an excavation of the ground. But in the rescue world, we differentiate that excavation into an excavation or a trench.
Or a trench, right. Yeah, so if that's what you were...
Yeah, if they have more, we can talk about a lot of it. I've been to a lot of confined space rescues / recoveries, and, we can discuss some of that stuff. But you really need good training.
Next one, marijuana in the fire service. Why it's unacceptable, but alcohol is fine.
It's still a new thing.
Yep.
and there's still a lot of areas across the country where it's illegal. And by law, the federal government, it is illegal still.
Yeah.
New York State has lightened up. Colorado, other places have lightened up where they're decriminalizing it, as they say. It's still a drug. And the most difficult thing is I don't believe there's an immediate test to see if you're high or not.
I think there is. I think police
Is
have
there?
it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I would just say, like,
I mean,
personally,
you got to understand you can be impaired, and you can be impaired by any type of drug. I mean, you can, whether it's Tylenol or something over the counter, cough medicines, Mucinex and shit, whatever, Robitussin, you can get impaired. And if you're impaired, obviously you're not working to your full level. Excuse me. So you have to understand what your limitations are. And this gets back to, and like I said, I can't remember the chief or where I heard this, where he says he doesn't teach or train his people to the standard. He does it much higher.
Right.
Because if they're having a bad day, they're still well above the standard, the minimum standard. And it sticks in my head. I just can't remember who said it. But I truly believe that's why it's so important, because if you are slightly impaired, even sleep deprivation is like being on drugs. You're impaired. So firefighters go through that sometimes. Police officers go through that. If you're overworked, working too many hours, you've been up all night, you can still be impaired. So training yourself to the highest levels, this way, if you are having a bad day, you'll still be above the minimum standard is good. But
well,
I'm not. I know we're going off. I know.
No. But I'm saying, don't say, all right, I've trained to the highest level, so now I can get high, and I'll still
I'm not saying
operate
that.
at the.
I'm not saying that.
I know
And,
you're not, but I just
you know,
want to clarify that.
I understand there are needs for medications and drugs or even alcohol, and there are times where it is good or bad for you. Especially people that are in pain and stuff like that, and it works. Even the CBD stuff does work for pain. Obviously the THC is a lot more, and there's, from what I know about it, there's a lot of different, I guess, strains or avenues that do different things to you. I don't know everything about it, but there are some departments that are allowing it now to an extent, but you cannot be impaired while you're
Obviously.
being a firefighter. So if you're off duty and not responding, not a big deal. But if you're on duty, not to do that stuff. I would say that if you're drinking alcohol, you should definitely not be responding. If you're high, you should not be responding, because that's a whole nother avenue. And definitely, you should not be driving. Period. End of a sentence.
I will.
And I think that in a way we're on a bad path. I think it's good and bad. I see both sides of this. A lot of people think it's decriminalized to the point where you're literally driving around and all you have is people smoking pot. It's blowing out the windows and everything else. That is illegal. I hate to tell you, it is illegal. Even if it's decriminalized, you cannot be operating a motor vehicle and smoking a joint. Can't be doing it. And you cannot be impaired. So if you're listening to this and you're doing that, you're doing something illegal.
I will say this, from everything you said is true. And the difference with weed or THC compared to alcohol is it also depends on how it is ingested. So if you're smoking weed, you're going to get high pretty quick, but everyone knows the joke out there, the weed brownie joke. Like, oh, I ate a piece of a weed brownie, it didn't work, so I ate the rest, and then all of a sudden you're up in outer space.
Well, like they say, you should do very small dosing, and and that's the thing. What happens is people will do stuff like that and say, "I'm not affected. I'll do more."
Yes,
and you got to really do. From everything I've read about it, you got to really do slow increments.
Yeah, but here's the issue: is when.
But then you have gummies, you have brownies,
yes,
you have
that's
oils.
what I'm saying.
There's so much
when
to
it comes
shit.
to ingesting it. You could take a weed gummy, and it might the actual psychological effect of it will not kick in for like upwards of an hour depending on did you just eat or whatever it is.
Depending on what it is,
So
I
if
guess.
you eat it and you eat a weed gummy or whatever, and you're sitting around, you're like, that didn't work, so I guess I'm not gonna get high, and all of a sudden your fucking pager goes off. Then you go to the firehouse and you hop on the truck and you're heading to the call. All of a sudden it kicks in. You're in a world of shit. So.
Well, now you're part of the crew. You're being relied on, and now you have a problem.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like you have to know, like you said, your tolerance to things. And personally, I don't think it's a problem. If people want to get high, go ahead, do it. I personally think alcohol.
I mean, some of this stuff can last in your system for 24 hours and shit.
Right, but not so much the psychological effect of it, but like. In my opinion, and I think most people would agree, alcohol is probably a lot worse for you than marijuana in the sense of how it impairs you.
I don't know all the studies. I mean, alcohol can do a lot of damage to yourself. Even your liver and everything else. And my dad passed last year from cirrhosis of the liver.
Right.
And it's never a good situation to do damage to your body that way. And I believe that marijuana is actually, I don't want to say it's totally better, but it's probably better for you than alcohol.
Right. I'm talking about more so the short-term effects of it.
But, there's not enough that I know of research and studies done on the effects or the medical benefits or anything else. I know there's some stuff out there, but, I think it's still, we're in the learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think if...
And then I know you can tweak this shit, and then they talk about this, what is it, Delta shit, whatever.
That's like it's a type of thing
it's
where...
fake, or what is
it?
it?
It's Delta 9, there's Delta 8.
What is that shit?
It's basically a form of THC that they can legally sell because it doesn't become THC until it's heated up.
What?
So it's the chemical compound actually changes when it's heated.
Really?
And I don't know if that's exactly for Delta 8, Delta 9.
Do you drink it or eat it? Or?
They can put it in. It still gives you some sort of a psychological effect, but it's not actually THC. So a lot of these companies out there that sell it, it is that chemical property, but when heated, does become THC.
Wow.
And that's the loophole. I don't understand how. I don't have enough knowledge to know how in depth that goes.
I don't know enough about this shit.
But the the big thing with weed is it calms you down. And there is research out there that suggests that people that go through stressful situations or traumatic situations can utilize THC to calm their mind down, which I think is a positive for people that, we touched on this a bit last week with the mental health. But obviously know your tolerance. If you've never had it before, don't just, smoke it if you're feeling...
I'd say be very careful.
Yeah. So that's really, and I think for the most part, like, I know a couple of departments put out policies saying, like, we're not going to drug test you for it anymore, but just don't come down here high. Do whatever you want on your own time, but just don't bring it to the firehouse.
And what a lot of people don't realize, and especially in the volunteer system, as soon as you get in your car and start responding, you're under your own car insurance, but you're also under your fire district's insurance or your department or company or whatever you have. But so there is legal liability for the fire department, fire district, even though you're in your personal vehicle. So that's why a lot of this stuff is so important. A lot of people don't realize that. If you do get in an accident, it's still going under your own insurance first, but they can still go after the fire district and the fire department. So, there's a lot of risk and liability involved, and that's why the fire districts and departments and companies, they really have to cover their asses. And there's a lot of people that say, yeah, no, it's my personal car. I can do what I want and this and that. No, you can't. You can't. It's considered an emergency vehicle from the second you get in that car and start going to the firehouse. And even though you don't have red lights and sirens or blue lights or whatever you have, it's still an emergency vehicle. You're still covered as soon as you start responding. So you need to do your due diligence. It can come back to the fire department or fire district, all your actions, the way you drive, whether you're driving on a shoulder, blowing red lights and stuff, which is totally illegal, you have to follow the vehicle and traffic law of your state. But you still have liability to your fire department and district. And that's why commissioners, chiefs, and everybody else gets to the point where they get upset about when people do things wrong, because you're giving a bad eye to the fire department.
Right.
So do it right.
Next submission, how to get rid of deadweight zeros, the knife and forkers that don't contribute.
That's a tough one.
From a chief's perspective, commissioner's perspective, I'm sure like every department's got those guys that, they'll say, oh, I did 20 years and, it's the boys club now. And there's nothing worse than being in a fire department where those guys just run. They're always down at the firehouse. They never get on trucks. They're never there for training, but they'll go down there for the cup of coffee or for the beer, and all they do is talk shit. Are there some ways that you can incorporate that behavior into, say, like conduct unbecoming, depending on the circumstances?
Depends. Depends.
Like, obviously, if the guy's just down there and, he's not necessarily breaking any rules, not so much you can do. But if they are, say, defying the orders of an officer or whatever.
I'll put it to you this way. I personally believe if you're in the fire department, you should be a responder. You should be doing stuff. You shouldn't be just sitting on your hands and, signing in for calls. That's first off. I've 37 years in and I still respond. Yeah, I started at 18. I was young and everything. And I have issues. My back hurts, my neck hurts, and I still do it. I'm going to push myself to do the right thing for my community, my department. And there's guys even less than 20 years that, they come in, they sign in. I suspended a guy. I threw a guy out for, bringing his kid down and just signing in for calls. And what I'll tell you is this. In New York State, we have LoSAP. I know some people don't understand what LoSAP is, but it's basically a pension program.
That was just going to be my question to you.
Length of Service Awards program. And I joined long before it. I joined for doing the right thing for my community and wanting to do more and go to fires and stuff like that. And they brought this on to try to retain people, recruitment and retention. Great. I don't think it's working the way they intended it to. That's number one. I think there are people that hang on and try to stay in the department just so they can get that money. And I just started collecting because I turned 55 this year. And different departments are different the way they do it. But if you're going down to firehouse and signing in and you have no intention of going on that call, or you come in after the call and sign in and leave, you are committing fraud.
Yes.
You can be arrested. I'll put this out there. You can be arrested, okay? And there's people that have tried manipulating numbers, whether they were commissioners, chiefs, and other people and everything else. That's fraud. You're basically stealing. It's theft. And I know some people will be like, you're an idiot, blah, blah. No, it's true.
That's true.
It's literally true. And I understand you want to take care of your senior members, but people need to do. We need everybody's help in the volunteer service, whether you have a year or 30 or 40 or 50 years in this department. We need you to contribute and do something. It's the only way we're going to survive as volunteers.
I just want to hop on what you just said.
Before you get to that, before I forget, right? If we,
no. Right.
Because I start forgetting. But, if we're not all contributing, right? And we know, listen, there's usually that 10 to 20% that does the majority of your work.
Yep.
That's almost every organization you have out there. There's a group of people that have the time, have the ability, and want to do more, and that's fine, okay? But what about all of this? Mm-hmm. Okay, and there is dead wood, there's dead weight, there's people that really should not be here, okay, because they're not doing anything. All right, so how do we get them to be more like this? And the way I always looked at it is, if everybody contributed a little, just a little, right across the line, these people wouldn't have to do as much. And The problem is when we talk about mental, physical health, and everything else, it's this little group, that 10, 20%, that we burn out.
Yes.
We give them all the jobs. We give them all the duties. Oh, they're around. They're always stepping up. Just because they're always around, just because they're always stepping up, doesn't mean you have to give them that job or that function. And it's not putting them off or anything. But you don't want to burn them out to the point where their family is suffering, their job is suffering, or something else is suffering. And then they take over everything. And then something happens to them that they can't anymore. And you have nobody to back them up.
Right.
So it's my opinion, if everybody just did a little, everybody, across the board, we wouldn't have half the problems we have.
Right.
And I think there's got to be respect to your senior people and everything else, but we need our senior people to contribute, not just come down and sign in and walk away.
So what you were talking about before with the signing in for LoSAP and being fraud, and it just clicked a memory of mine to also answer this question, which I think what you just said was great about, all hands making light work type thing. I do remember being at a department meeting and we were having an issue where there were guys that were coming down for alarms and were camping out in the adjacent parking lot, and then would wait for the alarm to be cleared. They would come into the firehouse and scan in. And
We've had people like that.
yeah, and our chief got up at the department meeting and basically said the same thing. Said, look, guys, I know that there are guys coming in here and scanning in for these calls that are waiting for the calls to be over so they don't have to get on the truck. He said, my name goes on that paperwork that says that you were here and you got on the truck and whatnot. He said, so I'm liable for you guys making fraudulent claims because they knew about it and they had cameras.
They're all legal documents.
Yeah,
And
so
that's the part that people don't understand.
He just basically said that.
I get it. It's volunteer system. It's everything else. But, you can't have all this
All
stuff.
you need to do is nowadays with the cameras and shit like that, all you need to do is comb through a couple of days of video camera where you say, oh, this one guy, it's literally 5 minutes after the alarm is dismissed, every day walking in, fobbing in, going out.
It's still a difficult situation because, what if they were just coming from a distance and they got there
I
late?
get that.
And it could happen. It could happen. People live further away. There's a lot of factors. When I was chief, we used to use our key fob to sign in. Mm-hmm. So I noticed something was going on with one of my stations. I always reviewed the sheet month to month, and I noticed people were going up the same amount of alarms every month. Like a group of people, same amount, like 10 calls, whatever. So I said, something's up. It was our headquarters. That's where our dispatcher is, everything else. I said, something's up. So I started looking around. I snooped. In the mailboxes, I found all these people's keys, fobs. One person come down, they'd sign in a bunch of people, put the key fobs back. So I took them all. Took everyone and put them in my desk. And I just waited. And then the captain came to me and said, Chief, we have a problem. I go, what's the problem? Some items disappeared in the firehouse. I go, really? Where? And they're like, oh, people lost their key fob. I go, how many people? Oh, 5. I go, 5 key fobs? Why were the key fobs in the firehouse? Well, they leave them there because the dispatcher here opens the door for us all the time. I go, really? I said, well, let's sit down, Captain. Let's just have a little chat. I said, you see this? Every time this person's here, these people get signed in. And this guy didn't. Just miraculously happens to be the same amount of key fobs that are here.
Yeah. Caught him red-handed.
It's not happening anymore. Stop. Now, I couldn't really prove anything. This was when cameras were kind of new. It doesn't see everything, but it stopped, But you can't do that stuff, And now, this department's talking about getting rid of LoSAP and going paid per call and all this other stuff. You got to be careful with that, too. And we looked into some of this stuff. VFBL, the volunteer fireman's been I can't even fucking think straight. But anyway, it's like your insurance. If you pay people, you don't get covered the same way.
In what way?
Your insurance coverage. Slightly different. You have workman's comp. There's different benefits. And,
Right, I know that.
But if somebody actually gets hurt or killed, the insurance is different when you're paid compared to a volunteer.
Now,
Volunteer benefits are very good.
another interesting.
Not that it, so, just before everybody jumps to do things or whatever, just look into everything before you start jumping
Well,
to do things.
one of the questions I was going to have, if you do a pay-per-call system, would that require the members to be 1099, or what's the nonprofit?
I don't know exactly how that works, but
Yeah, because technically
you're basically a
would
paid
be-
employee then.
Right. That's an interesting.
So, people have to look into all this stuff, and I can't remember everything. We looked into this a while back, of whether to do it. And obviously, the community has to vote. They do away with LoSAP and everything else because that's a community type of vote thing. But I know when we looked into it, the insurance would have been different if you pay per call compared to LoSAP.
Interesting. Last topic here, getting people to step up into the next role out of the probie mindset, taking initiative and ownership.
Next role, in what way?
So I think basically what they're saying is probies or people getting out of the probie mindset. And I
Off probation?
no, like having this is the way I'm interpreting it. And I know you and I interpret things a little bit different. So I'll give you what I'm interpreting this as is it seems like to me something is going on in this department where people are getting off probation and still have this type of probie mindset where they like almost like they're kind of waiting around for direction all the time, not really taking.
Well, that comes back to leadership.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it seems like there's something else going on here where getting people to step up into the next role. Yes, I've seen that where people, oh, you should be an officer. No, I don't want anything to do with that. But we do need guys to step up into those roles. But out of the probie mindset, well, why are people still in a probie mindset? Because here's the thing. In a probie mindset, if they're fucking taking out trash and shit like that, and like have them keep doing that. But if they're off probation and they're coming up to you at every call, hey, what should I grab? What should I do? Well,
that comes back to leadership.
That's
and
what I'm
training.
saying. That's what I'm
leadership
saying.
And training. I mean, if you're going to look at it that way, leadership and training is super important. Giving people, a leash or a short leash that they can do certain things. But we should not be as officers dictating exactly what everybody has to do every single time. And that's one of the reasons my department has riding positions. So you know what tools you should be grabbing. You should know what you're doing when you sit in that seat. Does it change sometimes depending on the type of alarm stuff? Yeah, it does. But for the most part, it gives people general direction. You should know what your job is. So the officer doesn't have to say, grab an axe and a Halligan. Or grab the can and a hook. You shouldn't have to do that. People should know what their job is. I used to say all the time, a chief can't put out a fire alone. The firefighters put fires out, right? Can firefighters put out a fire without a chief? Yes, but a chief can't put out a fire without a firefighter, right? So, you should be able to rely on your people and train them enough that they can do the job without you, without you existing. Is there times and needs of roles for chiefs and officers? Yeah, absolutely there is, depending on the type of operation. But if it's a small operation, think about it. Can a lieutenant and 4 or 5 people on a rig handle certain situations? Yeah, they can. They don't need a chief every time. Do we need 4 volley chief's cars at every car accident? Do we need 4 volley chief's cars at every automatic alarm? Right? And I know chiefs need to be active and need to be out there and everything else, but we don't. We need fire truck to show up to do and handle shit. And there are times where a chief can handle things on themselves. But, there's got to be roles and positions for everything. And people should know where they should have to be. You shouldn't have to be told what to do.
right.
Right? So that's one part of it. Now, do you have a 5-year member that's starting his first year of his 5th year? Or do you have a 5-year member that's still starting their probation or a year, 5 years in a row?
Do you mean literally?
Well, think about it, right? You have certain people that act as a 5-year firefighter or a 10-year firefighter.
Okay.
Right? They have experience, knowledge, they train that way. Or do you have the person that doesn't really do much, doesn't really train
I see what
themselves
you're saying.
well, that you're still teaching them year one over and over and over
Yes.
and over and over again, right? And we have some of those people
Yes,
in the volunteers,
absolutely.
right? Where you could teach them for 10 years straight how to do a certain thing, and you're still teaching them the same way over and over again because they still don't have it. Like, that should not happen. People should be able to, I'm going to say it, evolve and work, right? But they got to work through it, right? You should be trying to make yourself better year after year after year after year after year, that you're an actual 10-year or 5-year firefighter, not still doing the basic training drill over and over and over again because you still don't get it.
Right, not furthering your education. You know, we talked about before.
Well, like I
or
said,
Kev, you say it all
take
the time.
one program every year for
right.
10 years.
Like if you did your firefighter one, and then okay, I did what I need
I'm
to
done.
do, and I'm done. 100%, that would be like a pro-B mindset, so to speak. So
I mean,
you
we
definitely
have guys in departments, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that still ask the same questions that
Yep.
they would be asking as a probie.
right.
You know, I forgot, what's the pressure that I need for the nozzle? I forgot, what's the friction loss in the hose? Like, you should know that instantaneously. You shouldn't have to be asking somebody what that is.
Right.
And I get it, sometimes you're not a pump operator and stuff like that, but there are people that they get set into this role and they don't want to learn more. And then they leave the firehouse and it's like, that's the firehouse. I don't concern myself with the firehouse anymore. You know, me, I'm a little different. I'm fireman every day, firefighter every day. I walk into buildings, I size them up every single day. I look at windows, I look at doors, I look at exit signs. Like I said, I'm in Florida, I'm looking at sprinkler systems. I'm looking at, you know, is the what kind of ceiling does it have? You know,
Right.
like I'm constantly looking, and you can do that every day yourself. Like, why are we waiting to the last minute? And one of the trainings lectures yesterday was by Joe Jordan, and he talked about how fire prevention can be directly related to firefighter safety. And that gets back to building construction, what's going on. Did you see that? Did they do alterations, changes, and stuff? But if you're not a firefighter every day and picking up on these little things, like we volunteer in our communities, we go into these commercial buildings every day. If you see something screwed up, you should be taking care of it. You shouldn't
Right.
wait to think a fire marshal's going to come take care of it for you.
And then we talk a lot about training your members to be officers, which is another big part of this.
You should be training people to take your position.
Yeah, and
Whether it's an officer position, a chief's position, a senior man position.
if you can get a group of guys from your firehouse, it could be a small group, maybe in a certain age range, and I've seen it in multiple different departments. There's just a couple younger guys that are really into it, and when they get into it and you start teaching them and they start going to different classes, they start going out to the truck bay instead of hanging out in the rec room. Well, these types of people, and this kind of goes to the previous submission about the deadweight people, they're going to have like that FOMO. Well, I'm sitting in the rec room by myself watching a movie, and these guys are crawling underneath the trucks doing like a little search. You know, maybe that kicks enough sense into them to be like, I don't want to be the odd man out. You know, maybe I should go join these guys. So, like, if you could find a small group of guys that can take the initiative and start doing some other stuff around the firehouse, maybe you can inspire those people to do the same.
You can also ask some of these people, these Deadwood people, to step up. Hey, we need some input on, you know, some of your experiences of, you know, dealing with vehicle extrication or fire or whatever. And you know what? Maybe you put them on the spot. Maybe, you know, not that you want to embarrass them, but maybe they do get embarrassed to the point where they say, oh, shit, I should know my stuff. Who knows? You never know. It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Ask them to run a drill. Ask them to be part of a drill.
Right. Yeah, no, that's another big thing is, you know, sometimes those people just feel lost, you know, and if you could place them somewhere, work to people's strengths.
Maybe you find out what they do on the outside and say, hey, you have a background in this. Can you talk about this?
Right. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of ways to do it. And, you know, also really understand if somebody if they're actually dead weight, or if they're actually a knife and forker, or is it just what you see? You know, like if you only see this person every now and then, and maybe they're not doing something every time you're there, doesn't necessarily mean they aren't doing things. So
On another point, at another time.
Yeah, before you go and start, picking out people and trying to, push them out or get them involved, understand their situation first. Have a conversation, get to know them, build rapport with them.
They may be having family problems. You don't know.
Exactly.
You know?
So
you never know. So, just
yeah.
try everything. That's all we can do.
Yeah. I think that wraps up 42.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Yeah, Kev, show it off.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah, Taylor's tin. So Taylor made up this really nice helmet shield for me. So I'm going to display it. But Taylor makes metal tins. These are, if you can see the back of it, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a metal tin. So, but he can basically print just about anything on them. So this was one of the things I created, and he found it, and he threw it in with all the Joey D tins he donated. So all of a sudden, they're putting them out on the table, and all of a sudden I go, it's the Volley House one there. That's mine. Taylor made that for me.
I wish I would have found that first.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That is awesome.
So, but check out Taylor's Tins. He makes, not only that, he makes signs. You can make pump charts. He makes things for your CO meters, like license plate frames. He makes everything you can think of out of metal.
Right.
So, if your fire department's looking to tag things or items, look at Taylor's Tins. Give
Good
him a
catch,
shout out.
Rye. All right. That wraps it up.
Episode 42 out.